You guys are going to be off the charts excited.
What a product manager does is conducting a little bit of an orchestra, and it's your role to make sure that everyone is in sync.
Chemical engineers work in water, food manufacturing, they can make beer. The list is endless.
See, I would say social entrepreneurship is a lens, and it's a lens that we take to making the world a better place through business.
Pick a passion area, become an expert in that area, and build your journalism career with deep expertise in a niche topic.
Maybe you're not burnt out because you're doing too much. Maybe you feel burnt out because you're doing too little of the things that make you come alive.
I am caffeinated and I'm so ready to go.
Hello. Welcome to Time for Coffee TV, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I know that you must be super stoked about my guest today, who I'll be bringing on in just a second, Katrina Kibben, who, by the way, self-identifies as they, them. They are the founder, CEO, basically the grand poobah of 3 Years Media, which they founded 3 years ago. So magic number 3, we'll be getting into some of that. And the reason that I am so obsessed with Katrina, and I really am obsessed, is that I watched Katrina on Kamara Toffler's, it was basically LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live. I thought I was the only one that got confused by job postings. I really did. Until I heard Katrina and Kamara talking about it as a thing. And this is the thing that Katrina does better than anyone else out there, with the exception of the people she has trained at 3 Years Media. And that is to help businesses, to help hiring managers learn how to actually craft a job posting. And P.S., there is a distinction between a job posting and a job description, which I didn't even get. So without further ado, let's bring Katrina into the stream. How's it going?
Oh, it's great. I'm here with you. Couldn't be better.
Oh, aren't you sweet? Well, I am just gonna, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, that didn't work. You know, I'm still figuring this shit out, Katrina. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but as long as you're good with it, I'm good with it. So why don't we, well, first of all, how are things in Colorado today?
Very warm compared to what's about to happen. We're expecting 30 inches of snow this weekend, and I'm trying to mentally prepare as someone who grew up in the Southeast, where, 1 inch of snow could shut things down for a week. 30 kind of gives me heart palpitations, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Where in Colorado are you?
In Boulder.
Nice. Oh my God. I love Colorado. Well, it is almost 70 degrees today here in Maryland on the East Coast. So global warming, you gotta love it. So why don't we just give our viewers a little bit of the origin story of Katrina Kibben and how 3 Years Media came to be?
Right. So I started my career in marketing and I worked my way up pretty quickly, I would say. By 28, 29, I was a CMO of a HR technology company. And I didn't like it. I didn't like being the highly strategic leader of a team of 12, delivering our roadmap. I mean, it's interesting work, but I love to write. I love to do. And so I decided to become a managing editor of a blog about recruiting. And in that time, and I know that you've had a similar experience in your own history of being a journalist. As a journalist, we almost get a digital PhD in our topic. When you hyper focus on one thing, you earn this PhD of sorts over time, because all we do is speak to the best. All we do is learn from the best.
Yeah.
And I got the itch again, right? I'm like, well, all I'm doing is learning from the best. I want to be the best. How do I be the best? And so, very untraditional path. I was a CMO, I was a managing editor, and then I took a job as a technical copywriter. And yes, that was the lowest person on the team. That was the most junior title, but the work was fascinating to me because I had the opportunity to take all of my writing skills, all of my marketing skills, and apply it for Fortune 100s, brands I can guarantee the people watching this know about. And as I was creating that, I hit a bit of a wall, because in big companies, there's always a room of someone who can tell you to shut up.
So true.
A more polite way to say that, but the bigger the company, the bigger that room of people who can tell you to shut up. And they're not executives, they're not the most senior person. They're lawyers. They are communication leaders, right? And I hated that these companies with all this money, with all this opportunity, had access to something that no one else did, because all that time I spent in recruiting, right? I ran into a million recruiting problems that could be solved with writing, and not once did I meet another writer. So I created a whole firm of them. That's what 3 years.
Amazing. Amazing. I want to just make sure that we hear from our viewers. Please put it in the chat where you're tuning in from today, because we are going to want to take your questions. I've actually pulled up a couple of job descriptions just so that Katrina can kind of work her magic and show us what I think a lot of, especially college students, are not as familiar with, Katrina, and that is what keywords are and what to be pulling out, or try to be pulling out, from these job postings, so that they can then play those words back in an authentic way, of course, in their resume, their CV, and on their LinkedIn profile, so that it's really targeting those jobs. But before we do that, could you explain to all of us the difference between a job description and what a job posting is?
Of course, of course. And what's really interesting is actually, and I was writing about this morning, funny enough, was that I didn't realize how the job posting translated into advice for job seekers until about a year ago. About a year ago was when we had a 14% increase, 20 million jobs lost in 1 month. And that's when I realized that all this advice that I was giving hiring managers and job and recruiters all day was something that we could translate for everybody who's watching. And one of those insights that's really important is understanding the difference between that description and posting. So most companies don't even know this, just to be clear. So the recruiters listening, make sure that you're taking notes too. This is not just job seeker advice. So a job description is a technical document. It's something that belongs in an HR file. It's compliant and checks all of these boxes. Let me emphasize, it should live in a file. It should live in a digital filing cabinet, because it likely has a lot of bullets on it that might convince you that you're not qualified for a job that you are completely capable of. It might have a lot of very technical language that's required by the government, because, example, we have government contracts for just one instance. But you actually need to be able to look at that and say, what does it mean to me? What experiences should I have that would qualify me for this role? And that is why we write job postings. Job postings are the marketing version of a job description, and it helps you answer 2 questions when done correctly. Yes or no, do I want to do this? Yes or no, can I do this? My standard of excellence for a job posting is that I could hand it to a stranger on the street without any knowledge of their background, and they could answer those 2 questions. That's a good job posting.
Okay. So what if you could break down, well, actually, why don't I do this? Why don't I share my screen?
Sure.
Which I've actually never done on.
We got this.
We got this. You have faith.
I always have faith.
Okay. Well, I think what I'm going to do here, let's see if I do it like this. Why? You know, the problem with I definitely, can you see that, by the way? Could you see that when I pulled up that document? So you can't, right. It's saying, let me just read what it says. Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. And I'm supposed to follow some steps. So you know what? Since I can't pull it up on the screen, I will just read to you, Katrina, what it says. And again, our viewers can put in the chat what their questions are. But until I hear from you, I'm going to read this description. So this is for an account executive influencer. That's the title. Account executive influencer in marketing.
Let's pause right there. Job titles. Okay. Most job titles are completely made up. Let me say that one more time, because if you learn nothing else today, genuinely, I think that's a very, very critical piece of information that I wish I had known younger. That job title is completely made up. And you, as someone who's new to the industry, I'm assuming, right? Someone who's younger, not quite sure what your title should be. What I want you to do is when you see a title that's interesting to you, I want you to write it down. There's something else I want you to do with it, though. If you see a title a few times that you think is really interesting, that takes all of your experience and just perfectly packages it up, I want you to, right now, be prepared, either write down the steps or try it. Open up a second window with Google, and I want you to type in that job title and the word resume. Account executive resume. Marketing manager resume. I don't care what it is. And hit enter. Then you're going to click on the image search results, and there you will find 1 million or more resumes. 2 awesome pieces of information you're about to get. Number 1, you just got a million resume templates. No resume writers for you. Like, ta-da, it's done. You got your first draft. Number 2, you can also see alternative titles. One of the mistakes that I made pretty frequently when I was looking for a job and I was young is I searched one thing. Marketing associate, marketing associate, marketing associate, right? I can't imagine how many jobs I did not see because I just didn't mix up the titles. When you are a job seeker, you should have at least 5 titles that you are regularly searching.
Oh, wow.
That you regularly have alerts for, because unless you're a one-to-one match, you will not get alerts, you will not get updates. You need to go wide.
Oh my God. Okay. I need to get out my special, I have my special little, meditation bowl, and here you go. That was a gem right there, Katrina. Amazing. Because I do think that probably screws people up. So then you've got an alert for account. I mean, that's just it. Because the description, because the titles are made up, let alone a lot of the jargon in the posting itself, the job seeker is like, well, what's wrong with me that I don't know what that means? Like, oh, maybe I'm not qualified because I don't know what those words mean. Exactly. And the truth is, it's on them. It's not on you.
Well, there's a second layer here. There's an emotional element to a job title. It's how we see ourselves. And I think you and I probably have a little bit of a different context, right? Because we've been through our career. So at certain points in our career, we're like, I am a director, not a manager, right? I am a VP, not a director. Just an example of these different landmarks in our life where we are looking at ourselves and we're saying, am I this person? Am I at this level? Where should I be? And when you're very junior, you're going to probably opt out if the title feels too big. Example, entry level.
Katrina, I need do a timeout, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because I've gotten an alert from LinkedIn saying that our stream was deleted.
Oh,
And I need to rebroadcast. I need to so apologies. We're gonna dial out and then dial back in.
Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you in a
No
minute.
problem.
Okay.